Welcome to Am I Wrong? I'm Hannah Gibbons.
And I'm Anthony Grosdanis. Welcome back to the show where we talk about Am I Wrong threads on Reddit. If you've ever been on Reddit, you'll see the Am I Wrongs. People just post, their opinions, their stories, and ask people, Am I wrong for this situation? All right, let's get into it for the first story. You ready, Hannah?
Yes.
All right. First story. Am I wrong for keeping score of everything I've ever done for my husband? All right. I'm a woman in my late 50s, married to my husband early 60s. We've been married for 30 odd years. I fulfilled the role of traditional wife for much of our marriage, and I left paid work soon into our marriage. My husband is very successful in his business, and we live comfortably. All our children are adults now. My husband built this business from the ground up, and I was instrumental to the early success, which set it up to be what it is today. We were having lunch with our children when my son mentioned that his wife didn't want to be a traditional wife, and to do what I did to raise the kids. She raised concerns about how vulnerable a position it is and that she doesn't want to solely depend on him for money. He wanted me to talk to her and convince her by telling her how it worked out for me. I said I understand where she's coming from, and being a housewife is incredibly risky and vulnerable, especially if he leaves her and she's been out of labor force for a while. He countered that and had worked for his father and I because I trusted him as my husband to provide for me, and why couldn't his wife do the same? I told him I have a meticulous record of all the contributions I've ever made for the family business, recently digested with the help of my daughter, so that if the worst ever happened, I wouldn't be relying on the mercy of a man to feed myself. I told him I have made many contingency plans over the years to minimize the risk of being a housewife and compensate for my lack of pension and benefits I've had a lot that left over for the labor force. My son and husband were angered by this. Both said it showed a lack of trust, and my husband especially feels I've had one foot out the door our entire marriage, and that my little escape plan included plans to shaft him of his business. I told him the fact that he refers to it as his business rather than ours is exactly why I kept those records, and why I won't be telling my daughter-in-law to do what she doesn't want to do. Am I wrong?
Wow. I honestly don't think that she's in the wrong. I think that it's good to have sort of a plan and this sort of thing. So, like, if anything were to happen, she's not just helpless,
I agree. I think also like the husband, I think it bothers her that the husband refers to it as his business. Maybe he should refer to it as their business.
Yeah.
Especially if she helps out and she's part of the business. That could be pretty. If you're a part of someone's business and then they're referring to it as just their business, and you're like, whoa, like I played a role in it. That could bother you. So, I think for me, just communication here. I think there's a lack of communication.
There is a lack of communication.
You know what I'm saying? I think there's a big lack of communication. So I think they need to communicate that. And but no, I don't think she's wrong.
I don't think she's wrong.
No.
I think honestly, the husband and the son being angry about this is a bit unreasonable.
I get that they're maybe caught off guard a little bit. Like I think the husband's caught off guard because he's like, whoa, like I didn't know you had this plan of if anything ever happens. But I think for her, it's solely just in case, if he passes away, unfortunately, or something like that.
If something like tragic were to happen, she'd be sort of left stranded if she didn't have this.
Exactly. All right, here we go.
All right, so on to the next story. Am I wrong for throwing a line my parents always used to use on me back in their faces? Throwaway because I'm pretty certain my brothers have read it and I don't want them to know my main. I've always been a kid who my parents didn't give a crap about. As the middle child, it was always, oh, your sibling needs us more, and my needs were quite often just not met. Any attempt to get my parents to do something with or for me was met with being called selfish and told my siblings' needs came before mine right now. Neither of my siblings has special needs. They are both just kind of spoiled brats. My brothers, 30 and 25, are the golden oldest child and their precious baby. I was the unwanted girl child in the middle. They made this clear in all sorts of ways, from not wanting to pay for my school supplies and wanting me to figure it out, to the way their birthdays were treated, to Christmas. Forget them showing up to anything for me, but I was expected to drop everything to show up to any and everything my brothers did. Brothers both got brand new cars for their 16th birthdays, but I didn't need one. I got a rusty bike they found at a garage sale and told me if I could fix it up, they guessed I could have it. I fixed it up and they gave it to my brother instead. I moved in with my aunt on my 18th birthday. I'm getting married to a wonderful woman, and my parents recently just found out. They called me several kinds of butthurt as to why I hadn't told them, and then immediately started on how I couldn't do certain things because of my brothers. I can't have a nice chicken or fish dish. It has to be steak or pizza, or they won't eat it. I can't be too affectionate because you know how guys get around two girls being together. I can't have a wedding party if they can't be involved. I finally snapped. I told them that neither they or my brothers were invited. That for once, something was about me, not them. I told them that I had no interest in making my wedding about their crappy sons who had achieved nothing in life so far because they babied them to the point of uselessness. My wedding was not about what they wanted. My mother cried, and my father asked why I was treating them so poorly. I said, "You're just being selfish. My needs come before yours right now." There was a stunned silence before my father told me that it wasn't fair that I would say that to them, because this was a different situation. I hung up and blocked them both, but my cousin, who I'm close to, said they were making a huge ordeal out of it. They'd been calling other family members and then were being surprised when they were told, yes, they can believe I wouldn't want them making my wedding about them or their brothers. My mother apparently posted a long "woe is me, where did I go wrong" post on Facebook, but took it down after my aunt lit her up in the comments about where she went wrong. My older brother reached out just once to ask if he really wasn't invited. I said, yeah, he really wasn't. He seemed a little upset, but at this point, I don't even care. All he said after that was that I shouldn't have said what I did to our parents, that they're upset that they're not invited to the wedding, and even if I didn't invite him or our brother, I should at least invite them. I refused and I hung up. My parents and brothers don't know when or where we're getting married. I never intended to invite them, but eloping is starting to look pretty good right now. My grandmother has reached out only once to say she kind of understands why I don't want them there. It was kind of a low blow to throw the line they always use on me back in their faces. I thought maybe I'd get some third-party opinions here, but I don't think I was wrong.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of soak in. Yeah, I don't, from the way that her parents are treating her, I think that her response is valid in a sense. But I don't know, maybe she should invite them to the wedding just because they're her parents. But I don't think she's wrong. Because you know, like when something builds up so much, you keep holding it in, and then at one point you just kind of let everything out. I think that's what she did. And I think sometimes when you lash out, I'm not saying you regret some things, but sometimes you say things that you might regret.
Yeah.
Or that you're like, oh, I shouldn't have said that. So I don't know. I don't think she's wrong, but maybe the way she handled it, she could have handled it a bit
I think
differently.
she could have handled it better. And also, her brothers, it doesn't seem like her brothers did anything wrong themselves. It was more the parents babying them and coddling them and being like, you can't do this at your wedding because of your brothers. But I think it's her choice if she invites her parents, because her parents seem to be more concerned about anybody else's needs than hers.
They're kind of just like, they're almost like fixated on people judging them, or like how people look at them. Kind of, like, oh, I care how people view us.
Yeah.
But I think she holds some resentment towards her brothers, maybe because of the way her parents made her feel.
Yeah. So I don't think it was exactly like the decision I'd make to uninvite my brothers because of the parents, because it doesn't seem like it was the brothers' fault. But like ultimately it is her choice.
Yeah, that's fair. I think overall, I think we can say she's not necessarily in the wrong though.
Not in the wrong. Could have handled it better.
Could have handled it better though.
I don't think she's in the wrong.
Yeah. Okay, fair. All right, on to the third one. Am I wrong for putting peanuts in my food and not putting an allergen label on it, knowing that the food thief is allergic? Okay. So my office recently got a new hire, Omar. He's a young Muslim guy, fresh out of college, and ever since he was onboarded, my food has been going missing. I mentioned his religion because I'm also Muslim, and it's hard to find halal food on short notice. It's been really difficult not having food to eat because it's been stolen. My theory is that he stole my food because I'm the only obviously Muslim one in the office. I wear a hijab and I've mentioned going to a mosque. And he knows that my food is okay to eat. I've tried talking to him about this, but he always plays dumb and denies knowing anything about my missing meals. As the title says, Omar is allergic to peanuts. On Friday, I brought leftovers, which included peanuts. I made sure to label the package clearly with my name, but I didn't think to include any label about having peanuts in it. No one else in the office uses allergen labels for their food. It didn't even cross my mind. When I got to the fridge and realized my food was once again missing, I rushed to Omar's desk where I, of course, found him eating my food. And I told him that that lunch that he stole had peanuts in it. His eyes got really wide and he went for his EpiPen. And thank goodness he injected himself before the reaction got really bad. After Omar got done panicking about his reaction, he blew up at me. He said that I could have killed him and said that he wouldn't have been in danger if he wasn't a liar and a thief. He told me that it was my fault for not putting an allergen label on the packaging, and I said that I'm lactose intolerant, but I didn't expect everyone to put labels on their dairy because I don't steal other people's food. He said that that's different because milk won't kill me, and I said if it was the simple principle. HR has ruled in my favor, but now requires allergen labels on all foods. But the entire office is mad at me, not just for the inconvenience of the labels, but because I targeted Omar and tried to kill him. I now feel bad. Am I wrong here? Wow.
Wow.
I don't know. That's a bit crazy.
Honestly, I don't think he's in the wrong. Because he said that it slipped his mind.
Yeah, like I think he may have thought of it like, oh, he is allergic, but he didn't like, oh, like you know what I mean? Like he probably didn't really think of it. But like to say that he targeted, it's his food.
Yeah. It's his own food.
It's his
and
lunch.
He's been stealing it.
It's his lunch. That's like if you brought something and then someone ate your lunch and they're allergic to it, how is that your fault? That's your lunch. You brought that lunch.
Yeah.
It's their fault for eating your lunch. So like no, I do not
Yeah,
think
I
do
don't
not
think he's
think
in the wrong.
yeah,
at all.
no, there's no way he's in the wrong.
If it was like he purposefully put peanuts in the food he brought, knowing that he would
Omar.
steal it.
Yeah, it's like if you it's like it would have been different if he made something with
Yeah,
peanuts. It's
if
like,
he
yo,
did that
Omar,
on
here.
purpose, but it slipped his mind. He didn't think about the fact that somebody would be stealing his food. He didn't count on someone stealing his food.
Exactly.
So I don't think he's in the wrong for that.
Yeah, I think
Omar's in the wrong.
Yeah, like you almost killed yourself by eating someone else's lunch.
Yeah. Hopefully he'll think twice about eating other people's lunches now.
There you go. So yeah, there we go. All right, he's not wrong.
All right, so on to the next story.
Last one. I'm excited.
Yes. Am I wrong for feeling like my boyfriend doesn't put in enough effort? I've been dating my boyfriend for 2.5 years. I've recently been asking and telling him to put in more effort because I feel that he hasn't been trying enough. He's nice and helpful and patient with me for the most part, but I don't think that he's a bad person or a bad boyfriend. But when I ask him to put more effort in, he gets defensive and says he doesn't know where this is coming from. He never got me flowers, and I felt like they wouldn't mean as much if I had to ask, which I know isn't true. So I told him that I wanted flowers every now and then for special occasions. That was last year, and I have gotten flowers once on Valentine's Day. I've brought it up several times, and every time he says sorry and claims not to have known, and he doesn't think it's a big deal. 3 weeks ago, he had to move home just for a few months. Since he was gone, I asked him to watch a show because it was one of my favorites, and I thought he'd like it. I also thought it could be something for us to talk about and share an interest in together. In 3 weeks, he's watched almost 3 episodes. He doesn't have a job while he's home, so he has a lot of free time. I told him that it hurts my feelings that he hasn't put more time in, and he said sorry, he just forgot. I told him that I thought that was the problem. He never forgets to play video games or watches YouTube videos, but he can't remember to do something that is important to me. I know that he loves me, but I just don't feel like he's putting in enough effort. I think that the little things make a big difference. Like when I go to the store, I always go and look to see if there's Legos or puzzles on sale to get for him, and I'll grab him some candy and coffee. He's gotten me candy a few times, but I just haven't been feeling like he deeply loves me. Am I wrong for feeling this way? He says that he just doesn't know what I'm talking about when I say I don't feel as loved or cared about as I think I should. I try to make it clear that I do feel loved, I just want more of the little things. I feel dismissed and crazy. Should I back off and appreciate what he does for me, or is it okay for me to want more?
Yeah, see, that's an emotionally immature man right there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I think that she is in no way wrong. She's asking for simple things. She just wants to feel seen. When you're in a relationship, one of the main important things is that you just want to feel seen. You know? Like stuff that you like, stuff that you're interested in, is that your partner shows interest in that and at least makes an effort. You know what I mean? Like they might not like the same things, which is fine.
Yeah.
But make an effort.
Yeah, like give it a try and try to find things that you can enjoy together too.
Exactly. Like when you really want to be with someone and you care for someone, you want to do things that make them happy as well, right?
Yeah.
So if you know that buying her flowers is going to make her happy or watching her show is going to make her happy, like you can't sacrifice, not even a sacrifice, but you can't do that for your girlfriend.
Yeah, it's not
So-
even really making sacrifices.
Exactly.
It's just like spending some of your time on that. And I
Mhm.
feel like you should be.
Exactly. So no, I think if anything, she one should have a talk with her boyfriend
Mhm.
and, you know, see what his response is. And if he says he's gonna change, okay, see if he changes. And if he doesn't change, then that's it. You know, I don't think you know, she like, oh, what the? Like, I don't know what I'm saying. So like, I think that in your relationship, you should not be having to go to Reddit and asking people, is this like,
Mhm.
should I be wanting, like, is it okay if I be wanting more, or should I back off? And
Yeah.
you know what I mean? You shouldn't have to do that.
And she said she feels like dismissed and crazy, which
Yeah,
isn't something that you should be feeling in a
No.
relationship at all.
never. If you ever feel like that in a relationship, then that relationship is not for you. You know what I mean? So definitely not in the wrong, and
Yeah.
she needs a new boyfriend.
Yeah, definitely not in the wrong.
Yeah. So, but anyways, that's it for our show today, guys. Thank you for joining us again. Hope you guys enjoyed this week's episode of Am I Wrong? And we'll catch you next time. Once again, I am Anthony Grozanis.
And I'm Hannah Gibbons.
See you next time.